Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at an AR that we haven't taken a look at in quite a while. I was thinking to myself the other day, what's a weapon that we haven't gone in and checked out in some time? So we're going to be looking at the AMES today. This AR was actually pretty surprising and had no problem taking me through the tomb boss fight. He also ended up getting a little bit of news from Activision themselves, so I'm going to be going over that today as well. With all that out of the way, if you guys are into zombies content, do me a huge favor, rock the hell out of that like button for me and subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer to 27,000 subscribers and I cannot thank you guys enough for all the love and support. It really does mean a lot to me. So you guys can see right here, we have it up to a pack 2. We do have a legendary rarity, and we are doing 2,254 damage to the critical areas on zombies on round 25, so not too terrible. You will only be sitting on 120 rounds after pack-a-punching, so the ammo capacity really isn't too bad, but it's not really that great either. It's just kind of sitting there right in the mid-range. It's kind of where the fire rate is going to land as well, but that means you're also not going to feel like you're running out of ammo all the time. Once we got the third pack-a-punch on this AMES and we were on round 30, we were doing 4,509 damage to critical areas, which is definitely pretty good. There's a couple assault rifles in this game that'll be doing a bit more damage than this, but their fire rate's going to be a little bit slower. Looking at weapons like the GPR or the Krig, and yes, even though the GPR is absolutely one of my favorite ARs to use in zombies, if there is a weapon in this game that I think is ultimately slept on, it is definitely the GPR. I think that thing is just a monster of a gun. And it did handle everything getting up to this point to the boss fight really well. We were able to handle all of the lockdown stages and everything like that. There's some weapons in this game that kind of feel like you're struggling and like you really need to upgrade them. I would say with the blue rarity in pack 2, you should be pretty much set to get all the quest line done. And of course, you can freeze the waterfalls after round 21, get yourself that free legendary ether tool. Here in the boss fight, we were doing a steady 800 damage up against the artifact. That kind of seems to be a pattern here lately. You know what? It's just fine. It seems to be more than enough to get the job done. Granted, there may be a couple weapons that'll break through the artifact a little bit faster, but if you're comfortable with using some of these weapons, this AMES here, we just recently went and checked out the PP919 and also the ASFAL, and all of these weapons were doing 800 damage against the artifact, and all of them handled the boss fight really well. While the AMR Mod 4 may be able to take out the artifact really fast, maybe you just don't want to run around with the sniper rifle. Yes, it does give you a little bit better movement after pack punching it. That's one of the special abilities that it has, but it is still a little bit heavier. Now, while I do think it is incredibly crucial for your weapon to be able to pass that DPS check to break through the artifact, the largest component I feel to getting this boss fight done is being comfortable with training those specials in the elite zombies behind the rocks with the ice staff. When the artifact starts to attaching itself to enemies, the first few are going to be pretty easy, like you got the regular zombie, and then it's going to attach itself to the doppelgas, and those ones aren't too difficult. But when it comes to the shock mimic and when it comes to the amalgam, these guys are definitely going to be a little bit tougher. The first few phases, you can really just stay behind the walls and just kind of stay on one of those rock platforms and just kind of train the zombies around on it. You guys do have an arsenal accelerator. I think that would help out a lot during this part, just so that way you can get your ether shroud build back up. Sometimes once you go ahead and kill the shock mimic or the amalgam, it can be kind of tough getting back to the artifact to be able to damage it, even to just be able to sit there and shoot at it without being attacked by the hundreds of zombies that are around you. Obviously that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it feels like it. I do like to bring in a sentry gun for the very last phase with the amalgam. It'll just kind of help you clear out some of the zombies and take out the amalgam quicker. Of course, you can also use your Kazis to bail you out of a situation, but I do usually like to save those for the very last ending phase. Of course, if you're rocking Vulture's Aid with the Picky Eater augment, you can be picking these things up from the killed zombies, so that's always a good thing. Do I think that this gun would be a good option for high rounding? Probably not. I think the damage drop off that it suffers between rounds 30 and 40 is just a little bit too drastic to keep going with it. And again, with that being said, I really don't think that this is a terrible weapon. A lot of weapons in this game that actually unfortunately really suffer the same fate as this one. Now, the one thing that I really can give this weapon is that if you are a big fan of the AMES, if you just really like the way that it handles, the way that it feels, the way that it fires, all that, gun will definitely have no problem taking on any of the main quests so far in the game, like Terminus Island, Liberty Falls, Citadel, or the Tomb. It should be able to handle all of them really great. The only problem is that it's just not going to be the best option for high rounding. Now, I did want to go ahead and bring this up and talk to you guys about this for a second, because I've seen this today and it just absolutely blew my mind. So Charlie Intel over on Twitter went ahead and posted this. He says, Activision has posted a job listing for a senior director of game security to lead a team of engineers, reverse engineers, Windows kernel developers, and machine learning experts to tackle anti-cheat space for Call of Duty. Don't get me wrong, I do kind of appreciate the effort that they're putting forward, but does it feel like a little bit too little too late type thing? As of right now, we are currently sitting less than 30 days away from the launch of Verdansk, and they are still, as of this moment, right now as I'm speaking, making this thing, actively looking for a lead for their anti-cheat. Look, I completely understand it is all a part of life. We all move on, we get different career paths, we move on to new jobs, we get new opportunities, but it just seems like such such weird timing. I really feel like this is something that Activision or everybody over there at Call of Duty, they really should have had this handled a long time ago. Why did we really have to wait this long and for everything to get this bad for them to actually finally get hands-on and start changing things? We're still at a point where we don't even know if things are actually going to change or not. Now, recently we have also seen a bunch of closures of cheat software companies. In the past, most of them, if they ever get any of these cease and desist letters, they just go ahead and rebrand into a different name, and then just it's another day in the office for them. It seems like this time around, from some insider information, that some of these guys that are developing these cheats are actually done. Think of it like this, okay? You get caught with your hand inside of the cookie jar once, you get your hand slapped and they go, hey, don't do that again, don't reach for those cookies. You come back again later, you reach back in the cookie jar, they slap your hand a little bit harder, they say, hey, don't reach back into that cookie jar. You go to reach for it a third time and they say, hey, you reach back in that cookie jar, we're gonna cut your fucking hand off. Pardon my swearing, but I kind of think that's where Activision is at with some of these cheat providers. Well, at least hopefully, literally time's the only thing it's gonna have to tell on that one. With the leaks of basically the life of Warzone kind of being threatened by the popularity of the returning and current players and its ability to actually keep those players, seems like they are kind of going all in, hands on deck to make sure that things go smoothly, but why now? Why wait so long? Why did we have to go so long without them really seeming like they cared at all? Speaking of caring, I know a lot of people watch me mainly just for the zombies content, and I do gotta say, thank you guys absolutely for everything. I do honestly like to talk about everything Call of Duty here. I think that stereotype of zombie players don't play Warzone and Warzone players don't play zombies, I don't think that that's really true. Matter of fact, I know that's not true because I love Warzone and I love zombies. And I may be a little bit more passionate about one than the other, but it doesn't mean that I still don't like the other one. And in the end, I really see Warzone failing as being nothing but a negative for Call of Duty as a whole. You know, a lot of people seem to think that if Warzone ends up shutting down, that there's going to be more attention that is given to multiplayer and zombies just because there's going to be more resources or whatever, and I don't really think that that's the case, and the tweet from the Ghost to Hope that kind of confirms it. If it does eventually end up getting to that point and Activision does decide to end up pulling the plug on Warzone, it's just going to mean mass layoffs throughout the company. I find that it will also be a big loss for zombies as well, because I think there's a big handful of people that come from Warzone that, you know, only played Warzone, that decided to play zombies because they heard it was actually good. I remember back in 2019 and 2020, Warzone really took over the Call of Duty scene. There's a huge portion of players that ended up coming to Call of Duty that had never played the game before when Warzone came out, and I can guarantee you if Warzone eventually ends up going away, they probably won't play Call of Duty anymore. They already had Call of Duty installed because they play Warzone, or maybe they had Black Ops 6 from Game Pass or something like that. They're more inclined to give zombies a try just because they're in the ecosystem already. The devs trying to take Warzone mechanics and bring them over to zombies to maybe try to be a little bit more appealing to those players, that might be a subject for a different video. Overall, I just would see it as a huge misstep and a big, huge wasted potential, kind of like MWZ, to be perfectly honest. Who knows, guys? Only time will tell. I'm very excited for April 3rd. Not only are we going to be having our brand new zombie map, The Mansion, dropping, but also Verdansk dropping on the same day, so it's going to be a little bit hectic of a day. I'm extremely excited to not only get back to Verdansk, but to just drop some new zombies content for you guys. Know what you guys are thinking about all this down in the comment section. If you made it this far into the video, I greatly do appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Drop a like on it if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if anybody is new. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.